Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by the channel for another visit. I appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with me. In today's video, we take a trip to the Studebaker Museum in South Bend, Indiana. Prior to my trip there, I never really, wasn't really familiar with Studebakers. I knew about the Hawks and the Avantis, and a buddy of mine back in high school had a Lark, but that was a long time ago. After visiting the museum, I've been educated on the beautiful cars they made in the 20s and the 30s. Throughout the 50s, the cars have your typical 50s design and really look nice. They really are a very good looking car and a fine alternative to a typical Ford or Chevy. If you're new to the car hobby, you can find a nice driver for less money than a Ford or Chevy, and they are equally as beautiful. The downside to going with the Studebaker is that some parts may be harder to find. Let's get back to the museum now. The museum is a 3-story building with approximately 30,000 square feet of exhibit space. The museum houses the largest collection of presidential carriages, the most famous one being the one President Lincoln rode in for his last ride while he was alive to the Ford Theater that fateful night that he was assassinated. Again, I think you're really going to enjoy seeing these cars from the 20s, 30s, through the 50s, as they are just works of art. So let's get to the video, and at the beginning here, I'm going to share with you just a brief history of the Studebaker company. I hope you enjoy it. Please stick around. The origins of the Studebaker Corporation date back to 1852, when brothers Henry and Clement Studebaker opened a blacksmith shop in South Bend, Indiana. Studebaker eventually became a leading manufacturer of horse-drawn wagons and supplied wagons to the U.S. Army during the Civil War. About April of 1858, brother John M. bought out Henry's share. Henry was deeply religious and had qualms about building military equipment. Around the turn of the century, the company entered America's auto industry, launching an electric car in 1902 and a gas-powered vehicle 2 years later that was marketed under the name Studebaker Garford. After partnering with other automakers, Studebaker began selling gas-powered cars under its own name in 1913, while continuing to make wagons until 1920. The company acquired luxury automaker Pierce Arrow in the late 1920s and launched the affordable priced but short-lived Erskine and Rockne lines. Rockne, named for the famous University of Notre Dame football coach. Before his death in a plane crash in 1931, Studebaker paid Rockne to give talks at auto conventions and dealership events. During the 1930s, Studebaker was hit hard by the Great Depression, and in March 1933, it was forced into bankruptcy. New management got the company back on track, dropping the Rockne brand in July of 1933 and selling Pierce Arrow. Among other consolidation moves, in 1935, January, the new Studebaker Corporation was incorporated. By the mid-1950s, Studebaker, which didn't have the resources of the big three competitors, had merged with automaker Packard and was again facing financial troubles. By the late 1950s, the Packard brand was dropped, and in December 1963, Studebaker shuttered its South Bend plant, ending the production of its cars and trucks in America. The company's Hamilton, Ontario facilities remained in operation until March of 1966, when Studebaker shut its doors for the final time after 114 years in business. Well, thanks for stopping by again. I hope all of you enjoyed that tour through the museum. And if you're in the area, it would be a great place to stop by for a few hours and enjoy the exhibits. Again, if you're new to the car hobby, a Studebaker is definitely a vehicle to consider. I did a quick internet search and found a number of fine driver examples in the $8,000 to $12,000 range that would be ready to go right to the cars and coffee or cruise night with no work needed. So thanks again for stopping by. I will see you on the next video. Take care and stay safe.